Hey everyone, Connor here from Kamerastore.com, back with another edition of our Q&A, here joined by Nico as usual. So, as before, we've gathered questions from Instagram and YouTube, so we're going to give you some answers here. If you have any questions for us about cameras, film, camera repair, what we do here at Kamerastore, or anything else, leave a comment down below, or follow us on Instagram and respond to our stories there. So
also try to share this. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers on YouTube before the end of the year. Be a nice little gift. So just mention to your buddies that Kamerastore is cool and they should subscribe.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into it. We have R. Cooper shoots film. When will you have a Minolta Dynax 9? Tomorrow.
I wish soon. Yeah, that's a tough question to answer, I guess. It's something that people ask us a lot, like when will you have X camera? And really, we don't sort of headhunt gear that much. It really depends on when people bring stuff to us. So if someone were to walk in tomorrow and sell us a Minolta Dynax 9, we could have it on the site within a week, basically. But if nobody brings one in for 6 months, then we won't have one for 6 months.
I got a question for you as a Minolta fanboy.
Yep.
Is the Dynax 9 like the Nikon F5 of Minolta? Sounds like it.
Yeah, the Dynax 9 is the last sort of pro-featured Minolta SLR that they made before stopping their SLR business.
Probably not the most popular, because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to think as a logic is like there probably is way less Dynax 9 than Dynax 7 or 5 or any of the more like consumer models, which also makes it much harder to have in stock.
Yeah, they're very highly sought after.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good cameras. The 7 and the 9, the 5 even. You know, you're a 5. That's that. They all came out at the same time as that last line of Minoltas. The 9 is like one of the best built SLRs that I've ever held, digital or film.
But they probably made less numbers than Canon and Nikon because they were kind of dominating the market. So it's probably a rare thing. But yeah, like Connor said, we don't kind of like go for wish lists. If you come and call us to the store and say, hey, I want a Dynax 9, we don't go out and start searching. Sadly, it doesn't work like that. We wish it was like that, but it's not. As everything is sourced from secondhand, we get what we get, and we can't really get upset about it. Okay. We have Menozzo. Do you have news on Silberra? Sort of yes and no. So if you don't know what Silberra is, it was a film company or a company that was selling chemicals and film products and some film that was repackaged or refinished by them in St. Petersburg, Russia. Obviously, current conditions in the world have made it hard. I do know the person behind it is not currently in Russia, so probably left due to, you know, what's going on there. And the brand seems to still have stock of some products there, so maybe the film is still coming in through some other measures. I do know the film stock they're using might be okay to sell to Russia and import from Russia. But the person that was behind the project, as far as I know, is no longer there. Maybe someone's taking care of the shop or something like that. Obviously, the film they promised through their crowdfunding campaign is probably not going to happen currently because shipping in to and from there is complicated, if not impossible.
Yeah.
But sadly, that's all I can tell from now. I check the website every week for the news, and sometimes they're in stock, sometimes they're not in stock, so it seems they are active somehow. But my guess is, you know, they're serving the local community and not the international community.
Yeah.
But that's the news I can say. But like I said, not much in that realm. Then we have next question. Sam Film Geek. I have a Leica M4 with an inside of a Leica MD. How common is that kind of thing?
I included this because it was like really coincidental because I had just put up on the website it was a Leica 1C that had been modified by Leica in the 50s to be more like a 2C. So they added a rangefinder and like different top and bottom plates and all that. And this is like kind of a similar thing, turning an MD into an M4. So I assume, and I wasn't alive, but that you could send your camera to Leica at that time and sort of have them do different modifications to it.
Yeah, I mean, I have an M2 that was chrome, now is black, and has the insides of an M4. So I've been told that this is not something you could do anywhere else but Leica. Obviously, Leica doesn't seem to have it on the records. If not, my black paint M2 would be worth black paint M2 money. But yeah, I think Leica has done in the past some modifications. Is it rare? Yeah, I haven't seen many M4s with an insides of an MD, but maybe I don't think it's like specifically rare or expensive, especially because the MD, it lacks the rangefinder coupling. So probably not as interesting as it could be. The Leica M1, for example, didn't have rangefinder coupling or window. Some people modified it to have it. That would be a bit more fun and rare. But at the end, it's usability. This makes you not be able to focus with lenses.
I wonder if it has the rangefinder coupling.
Well,
I mean,
if it's
the 1C modified to a 2C had rangefinder coupling.
But this is M4 with the inside of an MD. The MD doesn't have it. So if it has the inside
The 1C
parts,
doesn't have it either.
yeah, but the MD doesn't have rangefinder. Whatever, I guess. Is it rare? Maybe.
It's unique.
Yeah, it's yours.
Yeah.
So it's unique. We have Kevin Ellis Green. Was given a Leica IIIf with a collapsible 5cm f2 Summicron. How rare is this lens combo? Is it like a rare combo lens question this week?
Well, the story that I posted with the questions had Leicas in it, so it I guess inspired some Leica questions. Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of Leica stuff, it's not a particularly rare combo.
No, very normal.
In terms of all camera stuff, it is a pretty rare camera and a pretty valuable camera and a very cool camera historically.
Yeah, the IIIf with a collapsible 5cm Summicron is what it used to sell with, so it's not especially rare.
Yeah.
It's a normal combination. The Barnack cameras, which are the ones that come with the Leica thread mount lenses, which is M39, came usually with that 5cm Summicron. Then when they went to the M mount, they started with a 50 basically rigid, which has like it's built already with it collapsed out. Yeah. But yeah, not rare. Really fun thing to shoot. That lens is really nice if it's not super scratched up.
I need to make friends with people who would give me a Leica 3.
I have one that was given to me. You can shoot mine if you want. Hannah Hosinoff photo. How much does it cost to develop film? Depends.
Yeah, it depends on where you do it, who you do it with.
Who does it? Do you do it yourself?
Yeah, if you do it yourself. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it. If you go with just give it to a lab and they do everything, your price can vary quite a bit. Depending on the services you get, the size of the scans that the lab does,
the country.
What country you're in, what kind of film it is. Different labs will charge, more or less for color versus black and white versus slide film. It can easily get pretty expensive, and that's why a lot of people turn to self-developing, which maybe is more of an upfront cost, but over time, if you're shooting a lot, is drastically cheaper.
Yeah, I think Connor said it, but like C41, this black color negative, is the cheapest because it usually is done by mini labs and it's very automatic. Black and white is the second maybe cheapest because you have to kind of do it by hand and it's annoying. And then E6 because it's kind of rare nowadays and a lot of people don't shoot it, so you have to kind of bundle a bunch of rolls and then do a batch of E6 depending on the lab you're using, obviously. Then depending on the size of the scans and like all that, you can start from like $8 or euros to like 20, 25, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
And if you do it yourself and you have some tools, you can do it for cents. Basically, black and white's like 50 cents a roll, and color is like €1 or euro something a roll. Yeah. Obviously, scanning and all these things, you need tanks, you need, if you're scanning a scanner, a computer, you need a camera if you're digitizing with a, like a Valois kind of setup. But yeah, it's depends. But I highly recommend if you're starting, send it to a lab. Removes variables. Maybe the camera you're using hasn't been tested and you're having light leaks and you think it's your camera, but it might be your processing. So just start with a lab and see how it goes. And if you really like it and you're hooked into film, then you can start looking up like black and white, which is easy. If you can mix like a chocolate milk, you can develop black and white film. Yeah. That's basically how hard it is.
To give a specific price, I guess an average in the US and here would probably be somewhere between like 10 and 20 euros and dollars. Yeah. Somewhere between there depending on the lab.
Count the shipping and back, so depending on where, even more. Yeah. But yeah, we have Peter Cherno, #1 most durable, reliable camera.
One that has been serviced. There's there's only so much that really good engineering can do in terms of keeping something alive that was made 70 years ago or 50 years ago. At a certain point, it needs to be maintained and upkept the same way you would maintain a car or a watch or any other piece of mechanical engineering. Yeah, it needs to be relubricated and cleaned, and parts need to be adjusted. So the best way to get a reliable camera is to get a camera that's been looked at by a professional.
And to go against Connor, I would say probably
Nikon F.
the Nikon F is probably one of the most reliable, durable
Yeah.
cameras. Nikon F and Nikon F2. Our mechanics here joke around that he has never seen a Nikon F that doesn't shoot at the speeds that it should, pretty much. But it does obviously benefit from opening and cleaning and lubing, like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
But he's like, never seen one that's like completely out of tolerances and like whack off like some other cameras.
It's true. Yeah, if I had to pick one, it would be the F2.
Yeah, the Nikon F or F2 is like the most sturdy, reliable. I mean, people took them to, I think it was the Vietnam War, and got shot, and the cameras, some of them kept shooting. Like, it's just insane. They're really, really well-made cameras, and probably over-engineered in what you were mentioning. Like, the engineering is like over-engineered to like hold the use and the abuse of like a professional environment back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
As much as Leicas are good, the rangefinder mechanism is finicky sometimes, and a bad knock will take it out of alignment, and then you'll have issues and so on. I think the Nikon F and the F2 were really workhorses back then, and still are. Okay, we have 1995 Luis Parra. Which brand could be the first one to make a new film SLR?
And there was another question that I didn't include because it was kind of the same thing, and it was like, what do you think about the new Pentax film cameras coming?
Let's start with the new film SLR.
Well, it's Pentax.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that Pentax working up something. They have a whole project about the film camera coming back.
Yeah.
There is rumors that it's going to be more like a point and shoot with mechanical advance. So it's going to be like a ratchet system, or, you know, like advanced lever kind of system. It's not going to be a motor. But I think Pentax has continued to sell their lenses with the aperture mechanism on the lens. So you manually can change it, kind of like Nikon had with the D, if I'm not mistaken. And that has been kind of like a purpose move, because it will work with old Pentax cameras and maybe a new one. So I think the first one that will make a new film SLR will be Pentax.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that somebody else might not join. But I don't think we're going to see anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how it goes for them. Yeah, it is really interesting to look at Pentax's website, and you see there's like 4 different versions of the same 50mm f1.4 or whatever lens, because they're sort of still making those older versions in an attempt to keep old cameras alive and possibly support new ones.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
And the other question that's not here, but we can say, is what do we think about the Pentax coming with a new film camera? Anything made new is good in the film world. Obviously, our business is to buy, service, test, clean, repair film cameras, but we can't at all fulfill the market completely.
Yeah, no.
And it's rare to find a business that does what we do. So as much as we like doing what we do and we think we do a good job, we can't be the only ones. So we do need new stuff. This Pentax camera or any other projects that bring new cameras to life is a great thing. And we also will happily, if needed, service them as an official service center if that is a thing we need or they need.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's exciting. I think
Yeah.
price point will be sensitive, but I think a lot of people want a reliable camera that works. The Leica M6 MP MA is this year going to hit 5,000 units, which is insane, at a 5,000 euro-ish dollar mark. So if this camera is not 1,000 plus, it probably will sell. Like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say, is if they can get it below 1,000, then that would be a really good price point.
And another one that a lot of people don't remember is colleges, schools, high schools, community colleges, art schools, whatever it is that has to buy. They need to buy 99% of the times from new sources. It can't be secondhand by whatever the laws there are. I guess people, mess up funds and play around with, hey, I buy Connor's secondhand cameras for a premium price, and then they're just half the price and they're just laundering money. So thanks to this thing, they have to buy them new. I know when Reflex was making their camera, the biggest contracts they had were like schools.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and we have fulfilled some orders for schools with some refurbished gear. Maybe the rules are a little bit different in Finland, but yeah, a new camera would be so much easier, for the sake of ordering in bulk, for the sake of always having stock to fulfill those orders, and for the sake of repairs if anything goes wrong. Yeah, more than a new camera, the like that they'll have parts and ability to fix things and do customer service and that kind of stuff.
Anything. Like
really
if you
crazy.
want to buy 10 of the same, it's not so simple nowadays.
Yeah.
We try to do 10 kits of a Canon A1 with a 50 and it takes forever to get them both together. And then
Yeah.
Connor's telling me, hey, we have 10 bodies but we're missing lenses. And I got to go tell the mechanics, hey, can you please make lenses? Then they do 100 lenses and they were like, okay, we have 90 extra lenses. We need 90 bodies. So like having a place that can give you reliable new cameras and lenses, which Pentax does sell, and at a reasonable cost,
Yeah.
is really, really important. Plus all the secondhand stuff, which is obviously great to have. Not producing more stuff.
That is really what it's like.
It's a struggle.
I need the lenses, and then I need the bodies, and then I need the lenses, and then some of the bodies are not working well enough to be in a kit, and every single one of them is different, and this one has dust here, and the other one has dust there.
Yeah, and then it's Friday, and we leave for the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, next question and last. We have Kostantinovic. I said that wrong probably. Camera that make you angry and yell while using it.
I included this. I didn't know if you had a specific
I do.
thought in your head. Okay. I've never been brought to anger by a camera. I've had things that I don't like, and experiences that I wouldn't continue using. Because we get to borrow a lot of stuff here and play with a lot of stuff here, so I feel like I have a pretty good sense of what I like and don't like, and that comes from playing with stuff and being like, oh, this isn't for me.
What is it that you haven't liked the most?
The Roller 35.
Okay.
I'm a well-known hater of the Roller 35, and when I say hater, I pretty neutral. I just wouldn't use it. It's just finicky. All the controls are a little too small and in a little bit of a weird spot for me in my hands.
Yeah. I will say,
What did you yell at?
I would say the one that I hate the most is anything with Sony menus. So any Sony camera that has Sony menus, I will throw at the wall. Today I was trying to take pictures for a post we did for the Nikon. We made the 19mm diopter for some cameras, and I was using a Sony, and the colors looked all weird. It was like HDR, JPEG, saturation 100%, because supposedly it carries the log profile onto picture mode if you haven't changed it off on video. Like, how silly is that? But if we're talking film cameras, so yeah, you know how you can have the log
Why would you
preview
ever want that
on pictures? Don't ask me. Sony engineers, they're beautiful. But if we're talking film cameras, I will say in my honeymoon, I was shooting Hasselblad that had bad seals, and one of the light seals broken going into the frame. And I had 5 rolls through my honeymoon with a piece of film or film seal inside my pictures. That made me really upset and not want to use that camera for a long, long time. That also happened to me with a Rolleiflex that wasn't properly serviced and had back focus like a meter. And I did a whole trip through the US, Bahamas, Chicago, Miami. All pictures were trash. That made me really upset. I still to this day can't touch a TLR. And recently, a Leica M2 gave me light leaks, and now I hate it. And I don't hate it, I love it, but I really angry at it. So
hate it.
Cameras that mess up my results is because film photos, you can't really recapture any photos at all, let's say that. True. But film photos are extra annoying because you take a month or 2 months or 3 months to develop, and then you're like, hey, yeah, let's see the memories of the trip, and then they're all completely bad.
That's true.
So 2 of them, well, actually, all 3 of them were from bad service. Thankfully, they weren't done from here where I work. If not, I'd be angry with somebody at work. But yeah, that really annoyed me. But I would say Sony menus and Sony use is the most angry I ever get. Every time I try to shoot video or photos, there's something that I'm like, why? And it doesn't make sense. And all the videos on YouTube tell me it's amazing and you should use Sonys all day. I can't.
Have you ever, because we use Sonys for our product photos here on the website, and before that we used old Olympus bodies. I don't know if the new Olympus bodies are any better, but switching from those old Olympus bodies to the Sony is so much better. The old Olympus menus were backwards even compared to the Sony. Like if the Sony is backwards from what you'd expect, then the Olympus is backwards from that.
Okay, so let's not. Let's say
We don't
that's
like
not
digital
great.
cameras.
I have a digital Leica nowadays, and I quite enjoy using it. The menu is quite simple. It has like 4 pages, and it's really simple. I can get along with that camera, but it also lacks a lot of features, which I guess is what I like about it. There's like 3 buttons, and you can do everything with 3 buttons.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They
that
can just
would
do
be-
so much these days.
Yeah, too many. Like
Yeah.
it's just like a computer in there. But yeah,
That's exactly what it
that's
is.
the last question. Don't give me a Sony camera and don't give Connor a Rolly 35, and we will be happy campers. And if you are getting a film camera, get it serviced so that way you don't have mistakes like I've had in the past. But yeah, that's been the Q&A for this week. Thanks for the questions. Remember, on Thursdays, they're on Instagram, and obviously, as long as you want, on YouTube, you can ask along. We've also changed the wording on the title, so if you see the names, it's just for helping people find questions they might be curious about. And the date is still there, but it's not as important because these questions are forever.
Timeless.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.